First contact sounds very cozy, doesn't it? A meeting of minds of civilized species yearning for understanding. It strongly implies that there'll be a second and a third contact that will figure it all out. Well, according to science fiction authors anyway, sometimes we do and sometimes we really don't. I have scoured the science fiction archives for tales of humanity's first communion with our alien chums. And for the next little while, you and I are going to take a closer look down the telescope. What if first contact comes out of the blue, and what if they don't want to play nicely? In 1985's Footfall by Larry Niven and Jerry Pournelle, the masters of disaster, Earth faces an invasion by an alien species known as the Fifth, creatures resembling baby elephants with prehensile trunks. Unlike humans, the Fifth didn't develop their own technology but inherited it from an extinct predecessor species on their planet. As herd animals, they believe in total dominance in war. Once a herd is defeated, it must submit to the stronger group, and this dynamic becomes important as the story proceeds. When the Fifth arrive on Earth, they attack without warning, destroying space stations and military targets from orbit, leaving humanity scrambling to respond. Footfall follows two groups of humans, those on Earth grappling with a sudden alien threat, and some captives aboard the Fifth mothership. The aliens try to establish a foothold in North America, leading to strikes and counterstrikes and much resulting devastation. But there is a last hope for us, a way to take the fight to the alien mothership. Can humanity prevail in the ensuing space battle? Who ultimately will be the stronger group and who will submit to who? Footfall is tremendous fun. I've read it a number of times. I heartily recommend it. We can't speak of alien invasion without mentioning this next book, H.G. Wells' The War of the Worlds, published in 1898, begins with a terrifying invasion from Mars. The aliens of the piece have exhausted their planet's resources and have set their sights on Earth. The story unfolds through the eyes of an unnamed narrator who witnesses the arrival of the first Martian cylinder in the English countryside. At first, the Martians struggle with Earth's gravity, but their advanced technology, including a deadly heat ray, quickly turns them into a formidable force. They incinerate a human delegation attempting peaceful contact, and soon military forces are powerless against the Martians' towering tripods and poisonous black smoke. As the Martians wreak havoc across southern England, the narrator finds himself on a harrowing journey through the ruins of civilization. London and its surrounding areas fall into chaos as people flee in terror, with ships carrying refugees to Europe barely escaping Martian attacks. Despite a few small victories, humanity's resistance crumbles. In the second half of the novel, the narrator becomes trapped in the ruins of a house where he watches the Martians feed on human blood and spread their red weed across the landscape. As despair and madness grip him, he witnesses the final shocking twist. What's certain is that whatever remains of humanity will be forever changed, our view of ourselves and our place in the universe in question, leaving behind both physical and psychological scars. An honourable, if slightly silly, mention in this category can go to In the Balance by Harry Turtledove, which is the first of a whole series, which starts with an invasion of laser-toting alien dinosaurs, of all things, smack bang in the middle of the big one, World War II. The warring humans must put their considerable differences aside to bring the fight to the saurian foe. So that's alien invasion, but what if our alien friends are not bent on invasion exactly, or at least not yet, but are still a menace that needs handling? The Voyage of the Space Beagle by A. Van Vogt was published in book form in 1950, but it's a fix-up. It's based on 4 short stories that were published in the 30s and 40s. The Beagle is a spherical ship with an all-male science crew of over 1,000. Dr. Elliot Grosvenor, a Nexialist scientist, plays a crucial role in saving the starship from both internal and, it turns out, external threats. Nexialism is a holistic and interdisciplinary science and proves far more effective than the narrow specializations of his fellow crew members as the ship encounters various deadly alien species. Their journey is divided into 4 dangerous encounters. First, the Space Beagle lands on a desolate planet and faces the Curl, a cunning, tentacled, cat-like predator that infiltrates the ship and kills crew members before being tricked into a lifeboat and driven to a sticky end. In the second encounter, the telepathic signals of bird-like aliens, the Ream, almost drive the crew to madness, but Grosvenor's convenient understanding of telepathy saves them from destruction. Next, they confront the Ixtal, a malevolent scarlet being from a previous universe. Obsessed with reproduction, Ixtal implants parasitic eggs into some of the crew's stomachs, but Grosvenor has suitable tricks up his sleeve. Finally, the crew faces Anarbis, a galaxy-spanning entity that feeds on death and has destroyed all intelligent life in its own galaxy. Once again, Grosvenor must devise a way of handling this new threat. Throughout these encounters, Grosvenor also deals with a tense power struggle amongst the scientific and military leaders on the ship, ultimately taking control through persuasion and psychological insight, ensuring the survival of the crew and the galaxy itself. Honourable mentions in the threat category go to the three-body problem and its sequels by Cixin, and I'll also mention 1977's In the Ocean of Night by Gregory Benford, which ended up being the first of 6 books in the Galactic Centre series. We follow astronaut Nigel Walmsley in 1999, the far future, at the point that the book was written, as he encounters an extraterrestrial artefact whilst trying to destroy a comet headed for Earth. His discovery leads him into a decades-long journey involving alien technology and contact with a mysterious probe called the Snark. The Snark reveals deep philosophical truths about organic civilizations and their inevitable collapse, whilst Nigel resists orders to destroy it. As Nigel uncovers more alien secrets, he faces profound questions about humanity's place in the universe and the future of intelligent life. What if the aliens are not all bad or bent on domination? What if they just want to lend a helping hand? In 1987's The Forge of God by Greg Bear, we are visited by aliens. One apologises and tells us that there's bad news, whilst on the other side of the world, another promises all manner of advancements for humanity. But which is it to be? More, it turns out, the former than the latter, and over the course of the book, the threat to the Earth becomes all too clear, and the outcome promised on the cover is duly delivered in spectacular fashion. Fortunately for us, or actually just a few of us, there are other alien machines bent not upon our destruction but upon our salvation. Human agents are recruited to collect all the data and samples of the biosphere that they can, and to evacuate a handful of people from Earth, and with the help of our new friends, plots revenge on the home of the world killers. And that tale is told in the sequel, Anvil of Stars. In 1987's Dawn by Octavia Butler, Lilith Ayapo wakes up in what feels to her like a prison, confused and isolated. She recalls a devastating nuclear war and her family's tragic death. Slowly she learns that Earth has become uninhabitable, and an alien race called the Oankali has rescued the few surviving humans. Now, 250 years later, she is aboard a living Oankali spaceship. The Oankali, a strange and unsettling species with sensory tentacles and 3 sexes, male, female and ooloi, have a unique biological imperative: to merge genetically with other species. The ooloi in particular can manipulate genetic material, and they seek to trade genes with humanity to create a hybrid race. The Oankali believe that this will save humans from their self-destructive tendencies. Lilith is chosen to help awaken and train other humans for survival on a newly restored Earth, but the cost is accepting the Oankali's plan to interbreed. And let's just say that not all the revived humans are ready to go along with this plan. Torn between her loyalty to humanity and her growing connection to the Oankali, Lilith faces the harsh reality that she is now part of a new evolutionary chapter, one that will reshape the future of both species. Dawn is the first of 3 books in the Lilith's Brood trilogy. If you're going to have contact with aliens, let's make them interesting aliens. In 2018's Semiosis by Sue Burke, a group of colonists flees Earth's wars and ecological disasters in the 2060s, seeking a fresh start on the distant planet Pax. Initially thrilled by the planet's rich biodiversity, the colonists relocate to an abandoned glass-built alien city, only to find it controlled by an intelligent bamboo-like plant that they name Steveland. Steveland then proceeds to try to domesticate the humans for its own survival. As the colonists learn to communicate with Steveland, they form an uneasy yet beneficial alliance. However, the colony's challenges multiply when they encounter the glassmakers, the original architects of the city, who've become a nomadic species after disease devastated their society, the colony failing. Can Steveland, a plant after all, help the humans fend off the glassmakers? Fast forward 100 years and the sequel, Interference, sees a new expedition arriving on Pax, disrupting the harmonious but fragile balance that's now in place. And the third instalment, Usurpation, is out later this month. In The Mote in God's Eye by Larry Niven and Jerry Pournelle, humanity stands at a pivotal moment in 3017, slowly recovering from a devastating interstellar civil war. As the Second Empire of Man consolidates its power, Commander Roderick Blaine, aboard the Imperial battlecruiser MacArthur, is tasked with investigating an alien spacecraft detected near the mysterious star known as Murchison's Eye. When the MacArthur captures a dead alien from the ship, a new journey unfolds. Investigating the alien homeworld, the crew encounters the Motes, a highly specialised sentient species. Initially, the Mote ambassadors seem friendly, boasting advanced technology and an eagerness to trade. However, all is not as it seems. The Motes have ulterior motives. As tensions mount, the crew faces deadly consequences when the Motes' smaller subspecies, known as the Watchmakers, escape and begin helpfully modifying the MacArthur. Chaos is the result, leading to difficult decisions to prevent human tech from falling into Mote hands. Meanwhile, 3 midshipmen crash land on Mote Prime, where they discover the grim reality of the Mote civilizations and their plans for galactic expansion. In a tense climax, an Imperial Commission debates the fate of the Motes as a battle fleet is prepared to confront the threat, setting the stage for an uncertain future where peace hangs precariously in the balance. To this interesting aliens category, I would also add Adrian Tchaikovsky's Children of Time, although arguably the aliens of the piece are not actually aliens, but uplifted jumping spiders. They're certainly alien in character, if not origin, and the first contact element of this story is handled really well, I thought. Before we look at some more books, if you're enjoying this video, do me a favour and hit the like button, it really helps. And tell me, what are your favourite first contact tales? Do let me know in the comments, I would love to hear from you. If we met actual aliens, would we be able to communicate with them at all? Would we operate on anything like the same basis? Could we make ourselves understood? In 2006's Blindsight by Peter Watts, humanity encounters its first alien presence in a chillingly enigmatic form. The crew of the spaceship Theseus, consisting of highly specialised transhumans and a vampire, and captained by an artificial intelligence, is sent to investigate mysterious radio transmissions from deep space. Their eventual destination, a strange object near a sub-brown dwarf called Big Ben, which soon reveals itself to be an alien vessel named Rorschach. Communication with Rorschach is the first sign that something is profoundly different. While it seems to understand human languages, the crew quickly realises that this alien intelligence does not truly grasp the meaning behind the words. Rorschach has simply mimicked human speech patterns by passively listening to Earth's radio transmissions, raising alarming questions about whether communications in the way that we understand it is even possible with these aliens. As the crew probes the depths of Rorschach, they encounter the Scramblers, 9-legged creatures that seem to lack consciousness despite their vast brain power. Their intelligence is purely functional, it's used to control their complex physical structures, but they lack any self-awareness. This discovery throws the crew into a deep existential crisis, challenging the human assumption that intelligence and consciousness are intertwined. Could it be that human consciousness is a biological fluke, one that aliens like the Scramblers have long outgrown? In our next scenario, we aren't even looking for aliens. In fact, we're pretty sure they don't exist at all, but one person stumbles upon them anyway. Remnant Population by Elizabeth Moon is an interesting take on First Contact with a really fabulous and highly unusual protagonist. We're on a colony established 40 years ago by a corporation, but it's been deemed insufficiently profitable by its owner and is to be abandoned. The settlers, who are more like indentured servants than real colonists, have no say in this and are required to pack up and be shipped off to some other planet and start again. Ophelia, the star of the show, is an elderly lady who is sick of living with her son's family, and she quite likes their home planet. She hatches a plan to hide when the ships arrive to evacuate everyone else, correctly predicting that they won't even notice she's missing, never mind search for her. All of which leaves Ophelia as the sole inhabitant of the whole planet. And she potters about in her village, rummaging around for supplies. And she's initially afraid, but gradually becomes to relish being free of the constraints of colonial life. She begins, though, to realise that she has company, and she is initially terrified, and with good reason. It becomes apparent from their behaviour that these aliens are sentient, and she decides that she has nothing to lose by facing down these strange creatures. And over the course of the book, Ophelia develops a strong relationship with the Indigenes, a relationship which is tested when a survey team arrives later to make official first contact. Remnant Population was a surprise hit for me last year. I really enjoyed it. 1995's The Colour of Distance by Amy Thompson explores the profound meeting of human and alien cultures. Dr. June Asari, a xenobiologist, is stranded on an alien planet inhabited by the Tendu, intelligent amphibians who communicate through intricate colour patterns on their skin, kind of like a squid or an octopus. After a near-fatal accident, the Tendu save Juna by drastically modifying her biology, enabling her to breathe in their otherwise toxic atmosphere. Juna must adapt to her new life amongst the Tendu, a species with remarkable control over their own physiology. As she learns their unique skin speech language and navigates their treetop homes in a lush, tropical environment, Juna forms close bonds with her rescuers. One of them, Anito, who initially resents her presence, becomes her guide and protector, teaching her the ways of the Tendu. Over the course of 3 years, Juna becomes so integrated into their world that she adopts a young Tendu and begins to see herself as part of their society. The Colour of Distance contrasts Juna's slow adaptation to Tendu life with the Tendu's own fears about human encroachment. As Juna learns their culture, the Tendu must grapple with what her presence and the inevitable arrival of more humans means for their future. Her time with the Tendu has forever changed Juna, and if she's ever to be rescued, will she be able to reintegrate into human society? Can humans and Tendu coexist, and will they reach a common understanding? The sequel, Through Alien Eyes, answers those questions and more. Honourable mentions in this accidental first contact category go to Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, a most unusual high-stakes bromance, and I shall say no more. And we could also include Foreigner by C.J. Cherryh, which tells the tale of a colony team stranded with their broken starship Phoenix, conveniently near a habitable planet which is home to the Octavia. In our next category, the aliens' chosen method of contact is parasitical possession. Kind of. In 1957's The Midwich Cuckoos by John Wyndham, the small English village of Midwich experiences a bizarre and unsettling event. After an unknown force renders everyone unconscious within a 2-mile radius, the villagers wake up a day or two later, seemingly unharmed. However, months later, every woman of childbearing age discovers that they are mysteriously pregnant, leading to the birth of 61 highly unusual children. These children share striking physical traits. They have blonde hair, golden eyes and pale skin, and disturbingly none bear any genetic resemblance to their mothers. As the children grow, it becomes clear that they are far from ordinary. They possess advanced intelligence, grow at an accelerated rate, and most alarmingly, have the ability to control others through telepathy. They act as a single cohesive unit, protecting themselves and retaliating with deadly force when threatened. Accidents or confrontations with these children can quickly end in tragedy, as they use their mind control to force aggressors into sometimes fatal actions. The children, capital C, clearly believe that they are inheritors of the earth and superior in every way to the incumbent humans. Can the children be stopped? And is it morally acceptable for us to destroy the children who resemble so much our own children before they take over? Can we bring ourselves to do the deed? In another book from the 1950s, The Puppet Masters by Robert A. Heinlein, Earth faces a terrifying alien invasion in the summer of 2007. Slug-like creatures from Saturn's moon, Titan, arrive in flying saucers and take control of the human hosts by attaching themselves to their backs, turning people into puppets under their influence. The head of a covert national security agency known as the Cixin dispatches top agents Sam and Mary to investigate reports of flying saucers and the disappearance of several agents in Des Moines, Iowa. They discover that the city has been infiltrated by the slugs, but they struggle to convince the government of the looming threat. The invasion spreads and the slugs infiltrate the highest levels of government. Sam and his team expose the threat in Congress, leading to new laws requiring people to bare their backs to prove that they're not possessed. Despite military efforts to resist, entire cities fall under the control of the slugs. Now, harking back to one of our first books, a virus might be just the job to finish off the slugs, but the battle for humanity has just begun. Our next category looks at what might happen if we introduce religion into the First Contact mix. The Sparrow by Mary Doria Russell, published in 1996, is a gripping tale of first contact, faith and tragedy. In 2019, the SETI program at Arecibo Observatory detects beautiful music coming from Alpha Centauri, a discovery that sparks a secret expedition led by the Jesuits. Father Emilio Sandos, a brilliant linguist and Jesuit priest, joins a crew of scientists and experts, believing that divine intervention has brought them together for this mission. The group travels to Rakat, the source of the music, where they encounter two distinct alien species, the peaceful herbivorous Runa and the predatory ruling Janata. The humans settle among the Runa, learning their language and culture. However, a series of well-intentioned yet disastrous actions by the crew lead to unintended consequences, upsetting the balance of predator and prey. This sets off a chain of violence, and the human crew is decimated in a brutal confrontation. Sandoz is one of the few survivors, captured and degraded by the Janata. The source of the music, a poet and musician, turns out to be part of the same species that enslaved Sandoz, further complicating his crisis of faith. Forced into sexual slavery, Sandoz's faith is shattered as he becomes a tool of the very beings whose music once inspired his awe. Upon returning to Earth in 2060, Sandoz is broken, both physically and spiritually. The Jesuits help him to recover, whilst the public vilifies him based on an incomplete report of his mission. As Sandoz recounts his harrowing experience to his Jesuit superiors, he struggles to reconcile his faith with the horrors he endured, beginning a painful journey towards healing. Eifelheim by Michael Flynn is a fascinating blend of historical fiction, science fiction and philosophical exploration. The novel is set in 1348 in a small German village Oberhochwald, later renamed Eifelheim, after mysteriously vanishing from all records following the Black Death. A modern-day historian and his partner, a theoretical physicist, are intrigued by the question of why Eifelheim was never resettled, unlike other towns that survived the plague. Their research leads to a startling discovery: an alien starship crash-landed near the village. At the heart of the novel is Father Dietrich, the village priest, a learned man deeply immersed in the teachings of Aristotle. Dietrich becomes the unlikely liaison between the villagers and the stranded aliens, the Krenken. The novel focuses on the rich and thoughtful interactions between Dietrich and the Krenken, blending medieval theology with futuristic science. Dietrich grapples with deep theological questions such as whether the aliens can be converted to Christianity and how to find hope in the face of the suffering that the Black Death brings. And meanwhile, the Krenken struggle with their own existential crisis, unable to return home and reliant on an amino acid not even found on Earth. As the Black Death ravages the village, the Krenken remain immune, yet their survival on Earth becomes increasingly desperate. Through these trials, themes of faith, hope and the selfless love of others emerge, with Dietrich's Christian worldview often clashing with the Krenken's more scientific understanding of the universe. Just for a change, our final book looks at first contact from the aliens' perspective. 1982's Nor Crystal Tears by Alan Dean Foster presents an imaginative first contact tale between the insectoid Thranx and humanity, told from the perspective of Rio. Rio is born different, being the only hatchling from an odd-numbered egg batch, which marks him as unique from birth. His curiosity sets him apart even further, especially when he becomes fascinated by rumours of a strange spacefaring race that wears their skeletons inside. That's us humans. Determined to learn more, Rio embarks on a personal journey from his peaceful home planet Willowwain to the icy Thranx homeworld Hivehome. There he encounters these monstrous humans, prisoners held for study by Thranx scientists. The Thranx, unsettled by humans' aggressive tendency, conclude that humanity is too dangerous and potentially insane to make contact with. Despite all this, Rio's encounters with the humans lead him to believe that an alliance between their species is the key to thwarting the aggressive Arn Empire, a looming threat to both races. Rio's empathy grows as he spends time with the captured humans, and against the judgment of his peers, he helps them escape. Fleeing Hivehome, they arrive at a human research station where Rio's hope of peaceful interactions are dashed as the humans turn on him, planning to dissect him. Can Rio avoid this grisly fate, and can the Thranx and the humans come to an arrangement, and together, can they resist the Arn when they inevitably attack? Rio's brave actions plant the seeds of what will become the setting for many of Alan Dean Foster's books. If you enjoyed this video, you can find plenty more lists and themed videos in this playlist right here. As always, thank you for watching, and until next time, goodbye for now.